Thanks, Alan. So yes, the basis of my paper was to explore the challenges facing the viability of Sheep Ireland's sheep genetic improvement programme in the Irish sheep industry, and as has been flagged already by Tim Byrne there in the audience, I've mentioned the word sheep there 4 or 5 times, I think, in the title, but probably no harm to emphasise, give the industry a bit of an extra plug. So. My role or my responsibility with Sheep Ireland is really in the Lamb Plus scheme and in dealing with pedigree breeders in this country. So I suppose I just wanted to start by giving a brief background to Sheep Ireland and I suppose what we're about and where Sheep Ireland came from originally. So Sheep Ireland began in 2009 after industry consultation with all the major stakeholders. It followed on from the department-run Pedigree Sheep Breed Improvement Programme, which was really concerned primarily with growth rates and the improvement of those growth rates. So I suppose the industry came together and said, although there has been progress made in terms of growth rate, very little progress has been made elsewhere in the industry, especially in terms of one of the main drivers of profitability on sheep farms, which is the number of lambs being weaned per ewe per annum. So 30 years ago, we were thereabouts at 1.3 lambs being weaned per ewe. Today, we're still at that level. So it was seen, that urgent action needed to be taken to, first off, I suppose, establish a maternal and lambing index to try and improve the genetic merit of our national flock in that regard. So I suppose ICBF and Sheep Ireland, were seen as a good organisation to deliver that objective, and there was huge advancements being recognised in DBI on the side of dairy and in terms of the beef Eurostar evaluations, and that's really the model that was used for the sheep evaluations also. So I suppose the potential of recording in sheep elsewhere in industries elsewhere was also showing major gains. So I suppose the Irish industry said it's about time we got in on that act. So I suppose Sheep Ireland is made up essentially of 3 main facets. So we have our MALP programme, our CPT programme, and our Lamb Plus programme. So our MALP programme is really the avenue in which we demonstrate the benefits or the potential benefits of the genetic gain which we hope to deliver to the industry. The CPT is our central progeny test, whereby we link our pedigree breeders. And Lamb Plus, of course, as I mentioned already, is our pedigree sheep breeder recording service. So, as Richard mentioned already, this or a variation of this has probably been displayed on most speeches this week. So, I didn't want to disappoint. So, I think a little bit of extra colour on ours might surpass Richard's one. I don't know, but essentially, It all revolves around the Sheep Ireland database at the top, and I suppose a central integrated database, has seen to have been delivering huge results in terms of the beef and dairy industry. So, it really is the model in which we feel sheep genetic gain can be maximised. So there's a couple of elements of that. Of course, you see our CPT, our commercial sheep farmers, our MALP programme, and our Lamb Plus flocks, and it all circulates around supplying superior rams to the commercial sheep farmer. Down at the very bottom, we see our meat processors, and I'll talk about the challenges facing, I suppose, the rate of potential genetic gain we can make, and as such, I suppose that's one of the big missing pieces of the jigsaw currently. So it's all data flowing into our database, and of course, superior rams, and hopefully, greater direction for ram buyers, being the end product. So I suppose just to give a brief synopsis of what data is recorded, lamb parentage, obviously, lambing difficulty is scored on each participating farm across our 3 programs, MALP, CPT, and Lamb Plus. A range of weights are also collected, obviously. Lambing survival data. Ultrasound scanning is also a crucial part of the programme in the absence, again, of I suppose, carcass information coming from slaughter plants. The ultrasound scanning of muscle and fat depth is really our closest indicator of carcass quality and the potential to make improvement in that regard. So DAG scores are being collected on our MALP and CPT, similar to lameness, fecal leg counts, and mature ewe weights. Those four contributors to the evaluation are still not being collected on pedigree flocks at present, but the future intention would be to have that happening. So you probably maybe have heard much about the Eurostars in beef. We're using the very same principles really. We've seen huge strides being made in the beef evaluation based on the simplicity of the Eurostar, on the Eurostar illustration. So we use the very same process, 5 stars representing the top 20% of each breed. It's currently all within breed, our evaluations, and that's how we hope to. It's just an easy way for commercial ram buyers to identify the rams that potentially will add to their flocks. And of course, it is divided within different traits. So we have an overall sheep value, we have a lambing trait, we have a production trait, and a maternal trait, and we have other key traits listed then additional to that. So I mean, these are the 3 core traits. The overall value is just it's just a summary of those 3 traits. So for this is a typical catalogue version that we supply to the industry. So we just have general ram details on the far left-hand side. We have ancestry details in the centre, and I suppose from our point of view, this is the important part of the whole piece, the genetic evaluation. This is the information that we want more and more commercial guys to be using. So I suppose performance recording in sheep in Ireland, where are we? We currently have approximately 1,000 pedigree breeders in the country, varying levels of activity, some more active than others. We have 250 pedigree ram breeders currently recording information with Lamb Plus. We would see that 250 as being, I suppose, the core, more active pedigree ram breeders. We would certainly think that they constitute the larger flocks. We have approximately or just under 34,000 commercial sheep farmers in the country. So this translates to an approximate annual ram demand of 15,000 to 16,000 rams based on our current breeding ewe population of just 2.4 million. So I suppose what that essentially means for recorded rams, last year we produced 5,000 ram evaluations, of which, of course, based on the Eurostar principle, 1,000 can be 5-star for any one trait at any one time. So, if we're looking for if there's an annual ram demand of 15,000 to 16,000 rams, it's obvious that there's huge potential there, and huge ground to be made. So, I suppose one way in which we're trying to stimulate more participation from the commercial sector and stimulate more interest in the Eurostars has been through an initiative which we started last year, which was our first ever Sheep Ireland Eurostar ram sale, and where we've provided a facility for participating Lamb Plus breeders to promote and sell their rams in a sale organised by Sheep Ireland. So I suppose it resulted in our first real large-scale exposure and publicity of the Sheep Eurostar message. It helped to educate and promote the Eurostar message among the industry, to ram buyers and to pedigree breeders alike, who, there's certainly, a lack of understanding within the industry from both pedigree breeders themselves and commercial ram buyers. So we have similar events planned for 2011, and we certainly see that in the early days. In the early days of the Sheep Ireland Eurostars, we see this as a critical part of I suppose demonstration and promotion of the Eurostar and genetic gain within the industry. So I suppose bringing it to the challenges to the Eurostars, the Sheep Ireland Eurostars. So adoption of Eurostars by the industry is one major challenge, and Richard, touched on it throughout his discussion as well. The demonstration of the benefits will be crucial to that. Evaluation accuracies is always a challenge. We need to improve those accuracies. Factory engagement, again, it's the missing part of the puzzle up to now. We need to find an avenue in which to address that. Technology poses both huge challenges and, I suppose, huge opportunities as well. And of course the self-recording aspect of the program, which is a challenge to any genetic improvement program. So just briefly, I'll run through each of them. Adoption of Eurostars by the industry is our number one challenge, really. So it's about getting the message out there, and I suppose through initiatives such as our Eurostar sale and just, constant engagement with the industry, we will achieve that. But I suppose, the rate of that achievement, will depend, on Teagasc, our national advisory body, will form a huge part of that process. Our national media and different campaigns that we run throughout the year will also hugely affect, I suppose, the rate of success in terms of this area. So I suppose commercial farmer demand will be the ultimate stimulus for participation by pedigree breeders, and the ultimate progress and the ultimate I suppose success of the entire programme. So education and promotion through our MALP and CPT projects will be absolutely critical to delivering results in this area. And as I said already, our Lamb Plus sale and indeed society sales, participation from individual sheep breed societies has varied. Certainly in the past year or so, we've made significant progress in that regard. We're offering flock book services now, fairly, pretty top range flock book services to societies now in Ireland. And the process, I suppose, of flock book or breed societies availing of those services has now begun, so that's going to open up huge opportunities to us in terms of availability of back pedigree for each individual breed and such. So I suppose, this is the crucial message. We want more adoption. We want commercial farmers, to use these 5-star rams and use, information and make the decision to turn the back on the 1-star ram, as you see there in the background, and, bring in the 5-star ram and drive genetic gain on their farms as a result of it. So the demonstration, our MALP program is absolutely critical to the demonstration of what we're trying to do. We've currently 19 farms involved in our MALP program. So those 19 farms, they're well-respected farms spread in various areas of the country, well distributed throughout the country. And we see that as the real driving force, to get this message to the commercial guy, the average commercial farmer, I suppose. We've got our CPT flocks then as well, which are mainly concerned with linkage, but which also act as a huge demonstration as well. So the key message, I suppose, that we need to push the message that genetic gain is permanent. Although there's huge advancements to be made in terms of management proficiency, across the board on Irish farms. Genetic gain is permanent, and I suppose not affect. Outside of management influences, they'll vary from farm to farm, whereas genetic gain will be carried through. So the demonstration, I suppose, just one brief demonstration, I suppose, is it's pretty early days in terms of our MALP, or in terms of our maternal information and in terms of our lambing information. This is production information. We carried over a lot of production or growth information from the previous department-run scheme. Currently, from the data we've gathered from our MALP and CPT flocks to date, there's a considerable amount of weights collected there. So if you just look at the weaning weight in blue, there's almost 14,000 weights collected there, and we're finding between 5-star production and 1-star production a difference of 2 kilos or thereabouts between at live weight at weaning. So that's adjusted at 120 days, as far as I know. So that's what we're recording so far, and we expect to see greater differences, as uptake and I suppose adoption by commercial farmers within the industry, takes hold as well. So the evaluation accuracies, I suppose, look, this is a challenge again across the board. Currently, in the early stages of our program, we're battling with low accuracies, and I suppose the only way we'll address that is through greater breeder participation by pedigree breeders, and of course, ultimately that will be driven by commercial demand. So I suppose it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. Again, MALP and CPT will be central to stimulating that commercial interest. So again, flock book participation is getting stronger. The availability of back pedigree for these different breed societies offers us huge opportunities in terms of just identifying so many more linkages in that, and it just has such a great knock-on effect on accuracy. So if we can continue to I suppose if we can continue that trend from breed societies, and get more and more on board and get more and more into our system, we'll certainly continue to make great improvements in our accuracies that we're producing for the evaluations. Factory engagement, again, it's the most notable missing link. We're currently our only real, best predictor of carcass quality presently is ultrasound scanning of muscle and fat. It's a contentious enough issue with some breeders, and it's an extra cost. It can be difficult to try and sell ultrasound breeding, especially again if industry uptake doesn't accelerate, and accelerate rapidly very soon. Breeders will begin to question more and more the cost of ultrasound scanning and the cost of participating in our program. So it needs to happen, and it needs to happen fast. But certainly in the last year, we have made significant gain, and I suppose on the back of more positive messages coming from in terms of lamb price, and that we're on a bit of a crest of a wave. So we need to make use of that and surge forward with what we're trying to do here. Technology, again, it presents, although it presents challenges, it also presents huge opportunities. The current regulations determining that each sheep in this country has a permanent ID for life will certainly help us in terms of what we're trying to do with factories, and in terms of flow of information. I suppose identities is it's a tricky one to handle when tags are switching and things like that. So a permanent ID for life and EID tagging will certainly give us huge opportunities. Uptake again may be slow due to the demographic of Irish sheep farmers. Self-recording aspect of the program, always a challenge in any genetic improvement program, and it's often the source of criticism from both the pedigree and commercial sector. I suppose again that it undermines the importance of the ultrasound scanning that's seen as an independent measurement, outside of I suppose what pedigree sheep breeders would be submitting to us on their own back, really. Commercial unbiased data going forward would be absolutely critical again. I suppose to instilling more of a sense of confidence and more a sense of trust in the end user's mind, in terms of our evaluation, and I suppose the potential use of them on their own farm. So expanding this commercial element will be a huge objective going forward, and I suppose our MALP program will be the number one kind of it'll be the illustration as to how that is possible. There's not a culture of commercial farmer recording really in this country, certainly not on an individual lamb basis, and that's something that certainly needs to grow, and if it does, we'll certainly be the ones to facilitate it and the ones to hopefully benefit for the benefit of the entire industry as well. So I'll just finish on that note, and this is just a ram that was involved in our CPT program last year, so I think he's looking proud about his contribution that he hopefully has made to our industry. So on that note.